The last step, which is also close to or associated with the learning process, is more useful at the scaling point of whatever proof of concept we are going to come out with. And this is to help embed and entrench whatever tools that we are going to develop here.
Taboos, festivals, storytelling, and even wisdom of the elder. We had people who could, in one way or the other, be able to foresee something that could happen even in 5 to 10 years' time. There were people like that. Visionaries. Today we talk about forecasting, rain forecast. The African man will look at the movement of birds, will look at even the rising of the sun, and then will be able to predict whether there was going to be rain on that day or not. The African man could predict whether in that particular year they were going to have bumper harvest or not. Just imagining or observing the movement of certain things, like the birds. 10 days ago, I think I was able to predict that there was going to be rain, and it rained because of the movement of the wind that I saw. That little knowledge we got from the elder.
We have the Made in Africa Evaluation Initiative, which is in partnership with 3 consortia. The University for Development Studies, UDS, is the one consortia. The other consortia is the University of Botswana. And lastly, the University, the University of Cape Town, represented by the Beta Center. Here we have Kirsten from the Beta Center in Cape Town. So the work will contribute to addressing power asymmetries, voice and knowledge of the marginalized young men and women in Africa. So we believe that the use of indigenous knowledge systems, local ways of knowing, cultural practices, and consideration of different local contexts, made in Africa approaches should shape really the evaluation practice in Africa.
My name is Professor Mahmoud Akudugu. I'm the director of the Institute for Interdisciplinary Research of the University for Development Studies, and also the project lead for the Made in Africa evaluation in partnership with MasterCard Foundation. Basically, we've been here over the last 3 days working on how to move from theory to practice in terms of promoting an evaluation framework that reflects the complexities and context of Africa. And so over the last 3 days, we've had participants come from across 15 African countries, in Central Africa, North Africa, West Africa, and in fact, Anglophone West Africa and Francophone West Africa. So these have been the 3 blocks from where we have participants coming to sit together to work to develop tools that we can use to monitor and evaluate development projects in Africa.
It's the actual storytelling process whereby within the process you can be transcribing, or should I say to record what they are saying, then you go and put it into a transcribable form, or in the process you can be writing or taking notes, or by that they emphasize on which of the stories that they have given is representing the most significant one.
Then we have surveys, community-led surveys, youth-led, gender-led, elder-led, expert-led. So I'll clarify this expert because yesterday we got feedback here. Expert does not mean the external evaluator, but within the community, there are experts in that field. There are people who already have expertise, so they can lead the conversations.
So review previous evaluations and visit communities to see if indigenous knowledge practices were applied. Would they have wanted it in the project? So ultimately, this is for step 1, an important step that shapes the other 5 steps. Saying that we need human resource, that is experts in document review and then interpersonal communication, experts in that. And then we have financial resources, we have non-financial materials as well, or resources. Yes. The duration, we are looking at 2 weeks, plus or minus some days, depending on the vastness of what you are doing.
For storytelling, the toolbox storytelling, the tools we were able to pick out were the most significant change stories, success stories, and of course the green and red stories. The green and red stories, and then for community dialogue, we had the community dialogue itself. So community dialogue was like the cluster name for the toolbox. But then there is the tool identified called, that we're able to identify as community dialogue. So the community dialogue was a tool within that toolbox. Then we had community-led interviews, community scorecard, and of course the very popular focus group discussions. So for participatory surveys, we had participant survey, we had access and control. Yeah, so we had photo voice as a tool which could also fall into any of maybe more than one of these toolboxes, but then these are like tools, other tools that we were able to identify: resource mapping and photo voice.
Because of the process that we've gone through for the community to map their own community, it may generate some expectations that may not be realistic or achievable within the time frame that we are dealing with. So it could lead to some sort of disillusionment. And I can tell you this: every intervention, every research in the community is an intervention. The kinds of questions you ask and the way you ask them is an intervention. So you're already intervening and they have expectations, and there may be expectations that cannot be addressed within that time frame.
I'm Professor Sadito, an adjunct professor with the University for Development Studies. And the major takeaways is the fact that we want to ensure that evaluations are Africa-centered, that the needs, the interests of the African people are taken care of in every evaluation and especially every project. And the takeaway here from what we did here is that as we go out for evaluation, first there's a need to re-evaluate or reassess the design of projects to reflect the African needs, the African development concerns, and the people themselves, so that it will benefit the people.
My name is Professor Balandi Wahab, Department of Urban and Regional Planning, University of Ibadan. This workshop has been a very unique and great one, in the sense that it is winning more souls, if you want me to use the word, winning more people to understand what indigenous knowledge is all about. To understand also that Africans, we have our own science. It is wrong for anyone to say that Africans don't have science. Indigenous knowledge practices have confirmed that. In the area of medicine, agriculture, communication, banking and finance, urban planning, transportation, all of those. So, now one thing that has not been so common, especially in our own curriculum, is this issue of monitoring and evaluation.
My name is Sajilu Kamwendo, Director for Outcome and Impact Evaluation at the Foundation. So for the past 3 days, we've been working with our partners here in Tamale, the University of Development Studies, in our Made in Africa Proof of Concept partnership. So what we've been doing the past 3 days is to look at the approaches, tools that we can use to move forward the Made in Africa or indigenous approaches to evaluation. The key takeaway from the past 3 days is that we've been able to come up with possible approaches and tools that we can use. And as we look forward to the next few months, we hope to be piloting these tools in actual evaluation. So we're looking forward to prove the concept of indigenous evaluation in the next few months, and really excited about this.
My name is Hadi Shahadi. I'm a lecturer in the Department of Journalism and Media Studies at the Faculty of Communication and Media Studies. For me, the key takeaway from this conference is the excitement of the possibility of building practical tools that we can use to decolonize monitoring and evaluation in Africa. When we called this conference, I was anxious. I wasn't sure whether people were going to turn up, but the numbers that came up really was surprising to me. And people keep coming back after every day, which means that the enthusiasm and the excitement to move forward with building practical tools for monitoring and evaluation, it gives us hope that this is possible. And we are going to spend the rest of the days and the next few weeks to synthesize what we have collected in here in order to come up with prototype tools and methods that we can use in moving forward with the practicalization of monitoring and evaluation in Africa.
My name is Sarah Mpapulu from Read Impact, and I am so glad to be part of this workshop today. My key takeaway from this particular activity is the need to sort of like bring African approaches to the forefront, and the need for it. This is actually the time for Africa to be on the forefront and be able to inform monitoring, evaluation and learning practices and put the people and the African continent on the landscape.
My name is Dr. Fadila Mohammed, and I'm a senior lecturer at the University for Development Studies. I'm with the Faculty of Agriculture, Food and Consumer Sciences. Participating in this project has taught me that we can really have a Made in Africa evaluation. So that's one key takeaway that I think I have. I have now come to realize that having a Made in Africa tools for evaluation or an indigenous monitoring and evaluation tools is possible.
My name is Marianne. I am a facilitator from Read Impact. My key takeaways from this workshop, I'll say one is the fact that as African people we are able to come together and co-create what the future of MEL looks like for Africa. That's amazing. I loved seeing how everyone was very proactive in terms of thinking through the ideas and coming up with ideas. In terms of what we need to do moving forward is we need to keep the conversation going, because if we are intentional about moving from theory to practice, then that means continuing collaborating together as African people to see this through, to ensure that we are able to create tools that can then be used in the evaluation process.
My name is Irene Chikumbo. I am from Zimbabwe and I work as a facilitator in research with Grid Impact. I think my key takeaway was just the realization of how complex this topic is. There's a lot of different moving parts, a lot of different expertise that come into making this, I guess, coming up with the solutions. Just taking time to really understand every single angle, every single bit of expertise that feeds into the monitoring, evaluation and learning process. In terms of next steps, I think there's still a lot of work to do, but this is just one of many steps in getting us to like the final product. So typically what we would do is we would do a synthesis process of all the information that we've gathered, and we'd start doing what they call prototyping. So building some mini versions of these tools that we would go and test in the communities, get feedback from the communities and iterate and improve on those products until we get something that is concise, clear, and something that the users feel they can use in the field.
And the key takeaway is that the time has come for us to look inward and see how best we can design development projects and evaluate them within the context of the African people. And so this workshop has been to start the process of developing the tools that can be applied for monitoring and evaluation in Africa. In fact, The project is, as I said, is in partnership with the MasterCard Foundation. UDS is leading the whole project with partners from Senegal, Cameroon, Ghana, and then Mauritania. And these partners, as I said, are working in different countries and trying to find out the different indigenous evaluation tools that are being used in those countries that we can adopt and standardize for evaluation across Africa.
The evaluation should go through a process, and that process should include a very good pre-entry and good community entry to ensure that we are able to capture the interests of the community people.
I would ensure that I propagate the need for African-based monitoring, evaluation, and learning in all we do. I'm happy to be part of this, and I'm willing to continue to contribute to the other stages of developing, testing, and perfecting the Made in Africa, decolonizing and establishing African-based monitoring evaluation.
So going forward, we would want to pre-test the tool or pilot the tool within the next 3 months. So we're going to be working hard to make sure that all the information and the ideas that we've gotten from this workshop, we'll pull them together, synthesize, and then complete the tool for online piloting or for the field piloting within the next 3 months. And we believe that by the end of the year, we should have a tool that African evaluators and project implementers and financiers and commissioners can make use of in ensuring that at least the projects are well evaluated and captures all the context within which these projects are evaluated.